I walk through the school hallway on the way to my first class, and over the din of slammed lockers and shuffled footsteps, I hear the voices of my peers. I hear conversation, some pleasant and some not. I hear, "Hey, how was your weekend? And do you think the algebra quiz is going to be hard?" These are the sounds of a middle school hallway. But I also hear something else. I hear jokes about HIV. I hear, "Hey, don't touch that. It probably has AIDS." And other all-too-casual mentionings of a disease that has killed millions of people and left entire regions of our world in complete shambles. I see an enormous problem here. The human immunodeficiency virus, and thus the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, has plagued our world for nearly 35 years now, and it is still one of the most commonly misconceived and uneducated about topics of our modern society. Our youth, which consists of my generation in particular, has learned about it through the news or through snide remarks from their peers. The biggest problem, quite honestly, is that our generation finds the issue so funny, yet is simultaneously terrified by it, which is a very strange paradox if you think about it, but it can be fixed. It can be fixed by education. Traditionally, even today, teachers and administrators do not dare bring up such a topic during their curriculum. It's viewed as taboo, as bad luck of sorts, too deep and too deadly of an issue to bring up with such fragile and vulnerable children such as ourselves. Well, my question is, what makes us vulnerable? We are growing up in what has proved to be one of the hardest generations to grow up in. And in order to change the world like we're wholeheartedly expected to, we need to be taught about our world uncensored, the truth and the danger and the cold, hard reality of our world, STDs included. Every joke, every snide remark, and even every time that a teacher or another adult in a position of authority refuses to teach teenagers about HIV when a relevant opportunity arises. These are all examples of stigmatized discrimination. Stigmatized discrimination against individuals with HIV, by definition, is negative behaviors and abusive behaviors towards those living with the virus. These behaviors are often derived through miscommunication, people thinking that intercourse is the only way to contract the virus, which is untrue, or that it's communicable through casual contact, which is also untrue. My goal is to try to stop the amounts of stigmatized discrimination that we see in our society in order to make a world where discrimination against the virus isn't a bigger problem than the virus itself. I had a 6th grade geography teacher, Mr. Collins. Some of you probably know him. And he ended the year with a unit on Africa and ended the last 2 days of the school year with a conversation about HIV. He didn't delve into the transmission or the infection of the virus itself because we were all still kind of young. But he did focus mostly on the statistics. And one number to this day, 2 years later, still sticks out in my mind. 39 million. 39 million people have died of HIV from the 1980s when the virus first broke out until 2013. Scientists are unable to even begin to imagine how many people have died of the virus since everything happened, and how many people have died since 2013. It was only a mere 2 years ago. I remember sitting there in my chair, a mere 12 years old, trying to fathom 39 million of anything. Never mind 39 million innocent people who didn't ask to die of this virus. I could tell it affected my classmates significantly less. They either stared out into space or giggled because they knew what the virus entailed. I was determined to learn more about HIV. A lot of people ask me how I became so invested in this topic without ever knowing an infected person myself, and certainly not being an infected person. Well, the answer is kind of simple. I watched the movie musical Rent. Rent circulates around a group of 7 friends living in the 1980s gritty East Village of New York, an area known for its rampant drug and disease problems, strong gay and lesbian community, and its starving artist movement, otherwise known as Bohemia. 4 of the 7 characters within the story have HIV, 2 of whom have progressed to the AIDS stage of the virus. In a tragic turn of events, one of the characters dies. It shapes the plot of the story and changes the lives of the individuals in the movie and the individuals watching the movie, in my opinion, forever. My goal was to take what I learned from this movie, the tragedy and everything that affected me with, and to try to educate others about it. This problem was happening to real people, and people my age were uneducated about it. So I decided that was my cue to fix that. I researched day and night, I watched several documentaries, and I basically devoted myself to learning as much as I could. I shared my new knowledge with none other than my best friends. And I'm not going to lie, if I ever heard them making jokes or other forms of uneducated statements about the virus, I would correct them and shut them down. I wasn't trying to be rude or a bad friend, but I was trying to make a difference. I was assigned to write a research paper and give a presentation to my class, as with everybody else was, about any topic that they wanted in science class. I decided to do it about the root of HIV-related stigmatization and what people my age could do to stop it. I was kind of afraid to share this sensitive information with the peers that I might not be so close to, but I received such an outpouring of positive responses that I was encouraged by a few unnamed individuals to share my knowledge with a much bigger audience on a much grander scale. So here I am today. It's pretty understandable why you may be wondering, so what's your point? What's your plan? Well, here's my plan. I decided that there wasn't a platform for people my age to share their knowledge about stigma, because stigma surrounds us everywhere, if you really think about it. There are stigmas regarding mental health disorders, there are stigmas regarding feminism, stigmas regarding certain people of a gender identity or sexuality, and, in my opinion, stigma regarding HIV. So there wasn't a platform for people my age to share their knowledge, and I decided that there needed to be. So I created a hashtag, Stigma Stoppers. So the hashtag had already existed, come to find out, but it's okay. So I challenged my classmates to use our school Twitters to tweet out their examples of stigmatization in their everyday life. It didn't have to be HIV. I tweeted these about HIV. Discrimination against HIV shouldn't be a bigger problem than HIV itself, which is what I'm trying to tell you today. Or that a joke about HIV may seem funny to you, but to the next 240 people within the next hour who will die of the virus, it's not so funny. It's kind of a staggering amount, 240 people times 2, just during the time we're sitting here. I received an outpouring of positive responses from my peers, more than I could have ever imagined. Pages and pages of tweets about topics that I didn't even think could regard a stigma, but they did, and it was really cool to learn about. So those are from some of my best friends about feminism, which is a topic that I'm also really passionate about. And those are from a couple other of my friends. Just because I'm not good at school doesn't mean I don't try, or boys aren't always jerks, or the numbers of questions that an individual asks doesn't determine their intelligence. These are all issues that I think were really pressing and really cool that people think that there was a stigma regarding them. I think it's super cool to educate people about it so that we can attempt to stop the amounts of stigmatization in our society, which will hopefully lead to a world where stigmatization against HIV and other topics isn't a bigger problem than the issue itself. Thank you very much.